Aloha, and thank you for joining us to our Stillpoint Tribe Welcoming New Season podcasts. Today we're going to focus on, everyone take a moment, take a nice breath in, stop right at the top. Hold for a moment. Feels like holding the breath. Good. So today I want to focus on some laser protocols. So for folks that have been using our lasers, we're going to be doing these more regularly, these scalar healing laser protocols. And I want to keep them real kind of tight and coherent in the approach that we take. These are designed to be easy for new. We have a lot of new folks that have been using our products, and we haven't been doing quite as many live trainings and seminars and retreats. And so our older model of doing conference calls, we're kind of shifting over into a podcast format. We also have lots of great videos on our YouTube station, the official Scalarwave Laser YouTube channel. So check that out, sign up for that. So for folks that have the laser, go ahead and turn it on. I'm just going to walk you through very basic. This protocol, often when I do protocols, I like to kind of lay a little bit of a reference for what the protocol's for, and then just jump right into the protocol. So for folks that are new and don't have our products, the Scalarwave laser is an over-the-counter medical device. It's cleared by FDA, Health Canada, CE all of Europe, TGA Australia. It's a handheld, portable, over-the-counter laser device. It's for pain relief, inflammation, circulation, arthritis, and relaxation of tissue. Yet it's also designed it's a laser therapy device that is different than other lasers in that we combine red, infrared, violet lasers. Most lasers use red or infrared. We're like the only company that uses red, infrared, and violet. And I do that because red is great for surface tissue. Infrared goes deeper for bone, tendon, cartilage, disc. And the violet works really good on energy and on chakras and subtle things, longevity things. In addition, what makes us totally different is that we also have a second technology called Scalarwave technology. It's patented technology in which we're using kind of a unique patented digital scalar wave technology to induce a unwinding. My background's in cranial work, and the goal of the technology, in addition to the medical device part, the pain relief, it's from a non-medical perspective. It's designed with the scalar technology is designed to gently unwind the cranial rhythm, unwind cell memory, unwind base. Scalar, from my perspective, the way that we use it, there's different approaches to scalar, and the approach that we use, the scalar waves are designed to induce Stillpoint. So they induce the dissolution of fixation, of polarity, and the arrival into Stillpoint. If you're familiar with cranial work, there's a cranial rhythm called flexion extension, goes in and then out, slower than the breath. And then when the cranial rhythm unwinds, it drops into what's called Stillpoint. Everyone, again, take a nice breath in. Start right at the top. Hold for a moment. Good. When you drop in here, Stillpoint, you kind of rest here. Breath keeps going, yet you stay here in space between the breath. All right, good. So for folks that have laser, go ahead, turn it on. This first protocol I just want to cover is, I call this this is a protocol to unwind any given, actually, let's take one moment and do Unwind protocol. Everyone put laser on Unwind and put it over the adrenal glands. Adrenals are halfway up the body on either side of the spine. Halfway up the body and about an inch and a half, 2 inches off the spine on either side. And you're going to put it on Unwind and just go right over the adrenal glands. There's 3 things I like to unwind on my body before I dig in on more extensive protocols. I don't want to get too into this right now. I want to cover it. I'd planned to cover a different, I didn't totally have plans, but I kind of was oriented towards a certain protocol, and then and that's really, really important, right? So I always tell people, whether you're doing laser protocols, whether you're doing other things, drop in Stillpoint first. In my life, I'm dropping in Stillpoint, and I drop before I begin something. I drop in Stillpoint, and it always helps to clarify. It kind of it dissolves. From my perspective, it dissolves things that are not. It kind of tunes in what's real, which to me is why it's so valuable. I can't say enough about Stillpoint. To me, it's a treasure. It's a jewel. Stillpoint is literally a jewel. I discovered it when I was doing cranial work years ago, and I recognized it right away. I was like, oh wow, it's like a delete key. Right away, for me it was like I found the most incredible, valuable thing, and I did it for years. I was doing Stillpoint on everything. I found the cranial rhythm. I held it, boom, dropped into Stillpoint. I was like, wow, this dissolves everything. Until I got really burnt out, and then I went to India and I took a little, stopped doing body work, and I was hanging around with yogis and mystics, and one yogi said he lived in the space between the breaths. And as soon as he said it, I said, oh, that's Stillpoint. I said, that's how beautiful. He just jumped in and lived there. And since that day, that is my approach towards. So great. So I'm moving to the other adrenal. I just changed the laser to quantum. So if you're on Unwind works really good right over the adrenal. Yeah, I just shifted to quantum and over the other adrenal. I'm not going to get too into this protocol. We have lots of videos. Go to our YouTube station channel, sign up. You can Google Unwind protocol or search it on YouTube, and you'll find specific key is the adrenals. For so many people, the adrenals are perpetually pushing adrenaline and cortisol. So this protocol, unwinding 3 things, I tell everybody, if you keep your adrenals unwound, and the next place we're going to go in a moment is the sacrum tailbone, and then after that the occipital ridge. If you keep those 3 areas unwound, your condition, from my perspective, orients trends towards nonlinear experience. What keeps people fixated is in some ways adrenaline, and which adrenaline's important, right? It's super important in many ways, and yet studies show when adrenaline kicks on, stress, adrenaline, it turns off the other glands. So the other glands, so adrenaline is the sympathetic, right? It's animals chasing you, adrenaline turns on. Adrenaline turns off the other glands thymus, thyroid, pineal, pituitary. It turns off the parasympathetic glands, and then cortisol inflames everything. So then people are left in this kind of. So people that are running adrenaline, cortisol, it keeps everything revving. It's like revving an engine, and it burns everything out, and it shuts down the other glands. My view is that I follow kind of a yogic approach to reality and wellness, and yogis understand their different plexuses, and the different plexuses, each plexus has a chakra. In the West, everyone's really into the chakras. To me, the chakras they're secondary. The plexus, in other words, if the gland is shut down, the glands release. Each plexus has a corresponding chakra, gland, organ system. So if the gland in that particular plexus is shut down due to excessive adrenaline, then the chakra isn't open. So I'm really into the glands. The glands to me are the keys. Literally, if you want to open it to keep the chakras in the subtle condition, you have to cultivate the glands. The glands are where in the East they call them the sacred spots. They're jewels. They're often depicted as jewels, and they release substances. They're jewels. They release substances, and those substances, from yogi perspective, they put people into subtle states of bliss, nectar, euphoria, ambrosia. So to me, we're doing very basic Unwind protocol, though we'll cover in other upcoming podcasts and different things. We'll cover different protocols for, to me, the glands are like the remote control of your reality. Everyone on planet Earth has been working with personality. Personality is it's a linear fixation. It only moves people around on planet Earth. You want to cultivate your condition of being in the cosmos and beyond. The glands are the way to do that, and we cover that in how to work with our products to unwind first, and then to activate and induce the glands to flower the subtle compounds that help to condition and activate us into subtle states of being, and also other kinds of foods and superfoods and alchemy. This gets into the scalar yog. Yog is the verb of yoga. It's the actualizing the practice of the attention. All right, I just moved down I'm on unity now, and I'm doing the sacrum and tailbone. I did the adrenals. I unwound the adrenals. This unwind protocol to me is, I did cranial work for years, and we're on the sacrum tailbone. I can't tell you how many beneficial things happen when the sacrum and tailbone unravel. In cranial work, you bring me any person dealing with any issues right now on planet Earth, and this protocol is essential from my perspective. I don't work on anybody unless I first unwind the adrenals. If someone's pumping adrenaline, it's very hard. I can work on their injury or their pain or their this or their that. Yet, if after I work on them, their adrenals are going to kick in and shut everything down again, it's why work on anything if they're going to press it in the wrong direction again. So I first unwind the adrenals on everybody I work on and clear that. A lot of people's glands, adrenals, got entrained by the people they grew up around. So they grew up around certain people, or their people they're around, or stuff they're watching on, or whatever they're putting their attention around. That energy conditions people. And so it's glandular. I've been for years saying that glandular entrainment. In other words, I'd unwind people's cranial rhythms. They'd come back a week or two later. They were all tight again. So after doing that for years, I kind of understood there's another piece to the equation. And for me, that is the glands. And so to me, my approach to unwinding the cranial rhythm, you have to clear the entrainment of the adrenals if you want the unwinding of the sacrum and the occipital ridge and the cranial rhythm to hold in Stillpoint. My view is that from the yogic perspective, so we're on the sacrum tailbone, and a lot of people who have chronic pain, chronic injuries. A lot of people along their experience here on planet Earth got, something happened that kind of threw them off. And planet Earth can be tough, right? People can have people that are mean to them. They can have families that aren't always, that tough things can happen. So when tough things happen early on in people's lives, often the tailbone, the sacrum and tailbone get tucked under, or people land on the sacrum. When that happens, if the sacrum and tailbone aren't relaxed and at ease, that kind of fixates the energy flow along the spine, and it shuts down the cranial rhythm. I just shifted back to Unwind, by the way. Unity felt it was nice, though it seemed like there was. And I'm actually now I did the back over the sacrum. Now I'm doing over the pubic bone in the front. Pubic bone in the front, which the sacrum works really good. Sorry, I'm dissolving so much. We arrived recently to the mainland, so I haven't done an Unwind since I got here, which usually when I arrive places I like to do an Unwind. It kind of resets everything, and I haven't. So as I'm doing this, I'm totally dissolving, and so the sacrum in the back is crucial for the larger sacrum, which means sacred bone, by the way. It's a very it says it all, sacred bone. So the tailbone, you want to unwind the tailbone. After I do the sacrum for a bit, I hold over the pubic bone, which is right above the genital area, right below right in that area, that little bone there. Unwinding the pubic bone, according to cranial osteopath folks, when you unwind the pubic bone, the tailbone drops down. So super really helpful for so many conditions, for everything. Anyone on planet Earth right now who's navigating the things that are happening here, find some way. Our products are designed to help this process. If you don't have them, find some way to unwind the sacrum and the tailbone, the adrenals, the sacrum, and the tailbone. Part of what makes our technology, I was just reading some testimonials of things on our YouTube channel, and I was seeing some testimonials of people saying things like, they love their laser, and if they had to not give up one thing that they had, the laser would be it. And I saw a bunch of people saying, I've heard this over the years, and we feel the same way. And the reason that people say that, and that we also have the same view, is that planet Earth has a lot of things here. There's lots of interesting, neat things. There's very few things that are designed to be. I designed this to be. The glands and cranial system are working on they're not really in the third dimension. They're in another dimension. They're really, anyone who's had cranial work and appreciates it, or has hung around with yogis, genuine yogis who have cultivated a different state. There's very few things on planet Earth that were designed. This was designed. These products were designed. The Stillpoint, the process, practice, and the technologies that induce it are super rare, and I feel so appreciative, and totally. I feel so. What's the right word? I'm so appreciative and grateful to the blessing and the gift of this approach to Stillpoint, and which I feel was totally gifted to us. Everyone says, "Oh, you're the inventor." I said, "Well, not exactly. I mean, I just keep dropping in Stillpoint, and it just kind of landed, and it just total blessing is all I can say about it." And I have that view, as do others, given its unique ability to be subtle enough. You have to be. If you're not subtle enough, glands will. I always say glands are like cats. If you go up to a cat and you have to rub it the right way for it to allow you to it to go with you. You can't just tell it what to do or whatever. That you have to. Glands are similar. If you don't come at it in the right subtle, cranial rhythm is the same way. If you learn cranial rhythm, people are trying to feel the rhythm. You can't. The teacher says, relax, relax, pull your hands back. You have to come in such a subtle way that you're like, oh, there it is. Glands are the same way. This laser is designed to be so subtle. there's so many things how we developed it to be very, very subtle. And so it works. The glands, when I developed it with the goal of the ability to unwind glands. I was like, glands are the key. There's not a lot of ways to easily unwind glands. So again, adrenals first, sacrum, tailbone next. It feels so good. I'm now like 3 or 4 feet off the body, off the pubic bone. When I do sessions, I drop in Stillpoint first, then I say, oh, well, maybe, and just go with what seems right. Today it was like I was going to do one thing, and then it was like, go to the Unwind. There was nowhere else to go. That's the beauty of Stillpoint. Stillpoint gets rid of things that are polarized. It vets out what's real in the moment, not to go telling people, oh, this or that. For you, what's real for you right here to put your attention on that helps stabilize your condition into a nonlinear, neutral state of being. That's it. Don't be concerned about other people or telling other people. If you want to help other people, get to that place. Then help them. You don't need to tell them. I can't tell you how many people I unwind. The key to unwinding people is staying neutral. If I stay in Stillpoint, the people unwind. The laser is secondary. If I'm in Stillpoint and I put the laser on someone, and I can't say enough, people that have our laser, it is such a understand. This is what always brings me so into such appreciation for this work. For me, this work is a seva. The whole operation is built around helping people to unwind, helping to this planet to arrive into the new season. And so have that reference. If you understand this and you get this and you have our products, help people. Get in Stillpoint and unwind the people around you. I tell people, if you want to sell, a lot of people ask how to, our referral program's really easy, right? And it's easy. We pay out a lot of the process if you refer someone. It's not some fancy plan. It's super easy. And the key to it is really simple. It's drop in Stillpoint. Anyone who around you who's in pain, stay in Stillpoint, put laser on, unwind, or quantum. Just do one of those 2 programs. Most people start unwinding beautifully on unwind or quantum. All right, next place. Let's go next to the occipital ridge. This is the ridge between the ears and the back of the cranium. 2 to 3 inches between the ears, that ridge. Unwind's a good one to start on. You want to notice when you're on the program, notice right away, does it feel good? If you're on it, it should, when you're on the right program, you'll feel your body kind of, I liken it to literally, problems in the body, from my perspective, are often problems as a result of their fixation. So things that are contracted or fixated are the things that often have problems. So if there's an injury, often there's cell memory there, there's fixation. If there's digestive issue, if there's some other thing, often things that are having problems are tight. Things that are relaxed and at ease often don't have so much problem. Not always the situation, but generally that is kind of accurate. So I've been discussing a lot about the different dimensions or planes, and so the work of Stillpoint is to dissolve things that are in a fixational orientation around physical, emotional, or psychic, and to bring things to a state that is beyond that fixational diffraction. yogis say that when one arrives in that state, it's a state of, they call it ease, natural ease. And that, to me, Stillpoint is like a gift of that. So as we drop in Stillpoint, and then we start to cultivate our condition. So we instead of the personality as the condition, which was prevalent in the last age, we begin to use Stillpoint as our new operating system for the new season. And we start to use Stillpoint now to cultivate, to do the house cleaning. If there's some injury or some emotional issue or some old program, we start to use Stillpoint to dissolve that fixational linear and help dissolve it back into neutrality. That's all we're doing, whether we're doing it with the Stillpoint practice, which we have lots of videos and trainings around that, or we're using our different products. The products do the same thing. They're simply outer products that are designed to help the same exact goal of dissolving, unraveling, and then bringing things back into Stillpoint. So the occipital ridge is super important. Since I just changed to Unity. I'm doing the occipital ridge, and it's super important. It's where the vagus nerve comes out of the cranium. And so what happens from my perspective is when people have a lot of adrenaline, cortisol, often the sacrum tailbone, gets tucked under. And adrenaline, what they found is when people are releasing adrenaline, things get tight in the body. And when things get tight in the body, the jaw gets pulled up. When the jaw gets pulled up, the occipital ridge gets pressed like the back of a door. When the door it closes, so the TMJ gets pulled up, it presses on the occipital ridge. The vagus nerve, which comes out of the occipital ridge area, behind the occipital ridge. The vagus nerve is what governs your breathing. It governs your digestion. It governs the heart. It governs the organs. It's the key. The vagus nerve is the key parasympathetic nerve of the body. It's the nerve that orchestrates your physiology to take care of your body, take care of the body. So adrenaline and compression shut that down. And so this unwind protocol is a very simple process. Unwind adrenals, unwind tailbone, unwind occipital ridge. When those three things are unwound, vagus nerve, immediately it sets up the condition in the body for the body to be not fixated. If the core physiology of the body are kind of clamped in a way that kind of necessitates fixation, then it doesn't. It's kind of like you can do lots of things, and yet if the emergency brakes on in the car and the keys aren't in it, and the wheels are turned to the side, right? It's not going to get going, right? So you can do lots of work in different areas, yet if the body is tight and clamped like that, you're kind of going against the process. So everyone take a nice breath in. Stop right at the top. So adrenals, tailbone, occipital ridge. I went back to unwind for one moment. Occipital ridge, super important to keep the occipital ridge relaxed, at ease. And again, when you're doing program, you try one thing. If your body feels like when you're unwinding, kind of like a rubber band, right? If a rubber band's tight, it's fixated, right? It's tight. If you hold it up a certain way with a little bit of leverage so that space can then it starts to unravel, right? The rubber band unravels this way, then it goes the other way, and then eventually it kind of drops back into the neutral state, right? So it's no different than, I will often say there's three states. There's polarity, there's negative, positive, negative, and neutral. Positive is when things are fixated. Negative is when it's unwinding. And neutral is when it is neutral. So with the rubber band, if it's tight, right, fixated, positive, right? You hold it a certain way, it starts to unravel. It goes this way, it goes this way. Negative, it's unwinding. It unwinds, it goes neutral. Fixation, it goes neutral, still point. That approach is what I do with everything. Anything anyone brings to me, an injury, an emotion, a belief, an organ, a digestive issue, a migraine, whatever the issue someone brings to me, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stay neutral, and I'm going to invite, using the laser, I pick one program. If I see them breathe, here's how you tell if someone's unwinding. If they take a breath or a sigh, you can feel. It's like the difference between having a tight hand and feeling it having the sense that it's starting to unravel. The people that have been with us a while, they start to have a reference of, oh yeah, they're now in unwind. I'm doing one moment over the temples. I did the adrenals, tailbone, occipital ribs. Now I'm just doing the temples. The temples unwind the sphenoid, which is in the cranium, and it's a nice thing to do. Right as I often do this in the Unwind protocol. If people's sphenoid is fixated, the pineal and pituitary glands rest on the sphenoid. So it's, again, getting back to the glands. If you want your pineal and pituitary to be relaxed and at ease and releasing nice subtle compounds like DMT and important neurotransmitters, and yogis call the amrita, the substance that gets released by the glands when yogis are in a state of neutrality and dissolution, and it releases substances that tune the yogi to the cosmos, to very subtle states of bliss and euphoria. So again, adrenals, tailbone, sacrum, tailbone, occipital ridge, sphenoid. I'm on activate. I put it on activate, and you can tell. It's like the more you use the product, it's like your remote. If you watch something, you put it on. You don't wait there. If it doesn't feel, if you don't feel your body have a nice experience, you go to the next one. But when you find one that feels good, you put it down. Same thing here. You put it on a program, wait 5, 10, not long. If your body feels like it's unwinding, keep going. If it doesn't, if you can't tell or it doesn't, go to the next one until you find one that's like, that feels nice. You want to always find the program that, and this goes for our laser, it goes for our pads, it goes for the Wi-Fi, it goes for any of our different products. You want to first drop in Stillpoint, then find which one tunes your condition into unwinding and then into Stillpoint. This is the equation. Everything I do, everything I interact with in the outer world, I meet it, I interact with it, and then I'm bringing things, the unwinding, dissolve into neutral, and then into a more intrinsic state of coherence, integrity, and subtle state of being. All right, good. That is the, when I finish protocols, I often go around the body. You can do this on Activate. I'm going to put it on Quantum. I'm just going to go around the outside of my field and above the body, behind the body. Go slow. Just clearing. If you don't have laser, do it with one of the laser sabers like from the movies. Simply go around. We're clearing any blockages, any holes, any cords. Good. You can do a little over the thymus at the top of the head. That's good. All right, that's good. That's a good protocol. That's the Unwind protocol. We did a little bit with the sphenoid. Now, the key to this protocol, if you're new with our products, is do this. A lot of people got trained here on planet Earth to be overly sympathetic, in their sympathetic condition. You have two parts to your nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic. People that are fixated in their ego, personality, they're often in sympathetic. right? Sympathy, in sympathy to the outer phenomena, the outer things here. I learned from yogis. I learned from, would say, he'd say, oh, you Americans, you Westerners, you're too horizontal to everything, right? Your attention is horizontal. So something happens in the outside world, and it happens. People are in sympathy with it. He would say the key to true yoga is to go vertical. Have your attention vertical, going up the spine, not out through the chakras, up the spine. Keep maybe I like to keep 5-10% of my attention horizontal, so I can say hi to people, I can interact with people. Yet mostly, the work that I do is about withdrawing my attention from outer things and cultivate. That attention is super valuable. So if you want to cultivate and purify the central nadis, so I was referring to a little bit ago the yogic approach to reality and being, right? The different plexuses. Well, what threads those plexuses together are the scalar nadis, literally the medical symbol, or the scalar waves along the spine, and the central, often referred to as the staff of life, or the medical symbol, or different references to a tree of life, or what have you. There's these two central currents, the scalar nadis, and then there's the central energy along the spine, and then at the top there's the pineal, the glands, right? And so it's an alchemy symbol. The medical symbol is an alchemy symbol. And so if your attention is coming down the spine and out through the chakras, bleeding out like a vase with holes in it, right, into all the outer things, putting your attention on this thing or this group or this thing or what have you, that's great if you want to use your energy in that way. But for me, those things are happening, right? Yogis say the karma of those things are happening. So you can play with those things and get involved with them, yet then you're going to be mixed up with those things. And to me, the key to the new season and to this work is cultivating a condition that transcends the outer things and orients to stable states of being. To me, that's how I approach and seek to serve, look to serve this new moment, this new season on this lovely planet, to help bring in new states of being that can help to orient a new season for beings to come here and explore the expression of consciousness and being. That's the work, and I want to thank each of you for taking a moment from your busy lives to be here. You all are good. Everyone tune in, check in if you're in Stillpoint. If not, take a breath in, stop at the top, hold for a moment. You can always tell when you're done with a protocol. If you're not, you can jump in and do another protocol. We're going to do these more regularly. You're all experts at this protocol now, so do it every day. Unwind your adrenals. It took me, if you unwind your adrenals once or twice a day, literally, for me, it took me 2-3 months to unwind my condition was in a state of sympathy. In large part, I didn't breastfeed a lot. I ask everyone I work with if they breastfed. And I can't tell you, a lot of people only breastfed for a month or two. Breastfeeding is when people breastfeed, when babies breastfeed, they come here to planet Earth. And first thing they do is they go to the breast. And breastfeeding pulls the TMJ forward, which releases the occipital ridge, the vagus nerve. Mother's milk has a lot of oxytocin. Little baby, crawls around, it's crying. It goes to the breast. It breastfeeds. A moment later, it starts to unwind. You can watch it unwind. If you watch a baby, you'll see it take a breath. Then it'll turn its head. Then it'll drop. They drop into Stillpoint. They'll literally land in Stillpoint. They'll look around, totally neutral. Then they'll start breasting again. Breastfeeding is unwinding from sympathy to parasympathy, and it trains the endocrine and the nervous system to have a good integrity between sympathy and parasympathy. And from my perspective, it establishes a foundation when young ones breastfeed for a good amount of breastfeeding helps. And so for me, I didn't breastfeed that much. So my system was my system was a little tight, kind of like a guitar string. It was just tight. So I was very sensitive to things here. And so when I unwound my condition, it took me 2-3 months. My whole reality shifted. Before then, I would drop into Stillpoint a lot. Yet after I unwound through this unwind protocol, my whole condition shifted, and I literally, my system simply just abided in Stillpoint. So if you have the technology, if you have another way, dropping in Stillpoint often can also help. Use these things; they help. And if you have technology and you have family around you or animals, same protocol. Adrenals, tailbone, occipital ridge works great on animals, works great on young ones, works great on family, on friends. From my perspective, now is the moment to help people to unwind and arrive in Stillpoint. As people have more integrity between sympathy, parasympathy, and can rest and hold in Stillpoint, the changes happening on the planet, the acceleration that's happening, we can steward that in a way that brings care and our a neutral state of being into the equation, the neutral state of being into the equation. On that note, much love and aloha.